Not Realtor late.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela O'Hare, your favorite and only Las Vegas realtor.
Hey, only
the one and only favorite.
Oh yes,
because the guy was using my tagline.
Yeah, and I actually could talk about that
Yes.
a little bit. Anyway, okay. It's great to see you, Ange. Yes. I am Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor. I'm all about houses and you.
Yep. Yes. So sorry guys, we were a minute late, but Rob, of course,
that's not even realtor. It's not realtor late to be a minute late. That's like right on time. That's actually early.
True. Yeah. So real quick, what are you talking about? The favorite Las Vegas realtor person stealing my
yes,
thing?
So that guy, yes. I haven't. I guess he uses that.
He changed it now.
He did. Okay.
He's changed
it.
Good,
because I have watched some of his videos, and he's getting a lot of notoriety for being the guy that says
he's being
don't
honest.
buy right now, which is like, yeah, he's being honest. But here's the thing, Ange. Do you really tell people don't buy right now? Is that actually something that you should be telling someone?
Well, I'm glad we brought it up, and obviously we're jumping right into it before we even get into our introduction.
I know.
But my thought is this: he is telling people he is the clickbait type person, right? Okay.
It seems a little bit.
His YouTube channel has grown exponentially in the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's getting thousands of subscribers, thousands of views.
Yeah.
But his thing is that everyone comments says, we appreciate you being honest.
Yep.
But for me, he's misleading because he's going over, when I watch his video, he goes over what the market's going, not in Vegas in per se, but what's going on across the country. Right. And one person commented, now's a great time to buy. I got this. I got 30,000 off the price. I got this for my closing costs. I got this. It's a great time to buy. Don't listen to someone that's telling you don't buy now.
Yeah.
Wait. He's telling you to wait. And that is the worst advice I think anyone can give.
It could be. And that's why I would say you don't make such an ultimatum. You don't make such a strong statement that it's you got to look, as whoever we're talking to there, you got to look at your own situation.
Right.
Does it make sense for you to buy better than alternative, which might be renting or staying where you are or whatever it is that you're doing? And depending on that situation, it may make perfect sense. A good friend of mine made a statement, which is the best time to buy is 5 years ago. And you can't say that more right now. But if you look back from now and you buy in 5 years from now, I think you're not going to be looking at, if you calculated everything correctly and put yourself in an economic situation that wasn't going to get, that you had some cushion and room to, wiggle as far as your mortgage and what it's costing you to own that property, then you're probably going to be pretty darn happy in 5 years. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, and we're going to get more into it with the numbers, but I've always said the numbers don't lie. Okay. And last month I had predicted that the spring selling season, I have a feeling, and my prediction is I still feel that way, that prices are going to start ticking back up. And the numbers are showing it. And you're getting busier.
Yeah, I am getting busier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even the new home construction people are saying they've picked up.
I just talked to title companies. They said they had a little bit more business.
But anyways, we'll get into that once we go over the numbers. But real quick, briefly, I hadn't seen Rob in a month, which we had said that we were going to do a video, but we never did. What have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to?
You just did
I did a summit today. It's called the Success Summit. It was about social media and it was really geared towards realtors, other realtors, room full of wonderful people at TPC Summerlin. Nice little event put on. I was actually not expecting. I told you that I was originally invited to be a panelist, and I was like, okay, and then as it cruised up as it's getting closer, I'm like, this is great. And then it was telling her that, wow, Ange should be involved in this. It's really a lot of hungry people out there that want to know how they can be more present on social media, how they can kind of, start doing it. And, I come from a time where I feel like it's like I was a little bit traditional agent with a little, doing a little bit of social media.
Right.
But also kind of, people getting around people and always being around
Well,
them.
you've been hitting it hard lately.
Yeah. And exactly. But now since I met you, 2020, I started diving more into the social media side of things, but also still having my original referral based business.
Right.
And so I felt like I was in between some of these people, because there was an agent there that was started in 2019 and he's killing it now. And it's all because he does, the TikTok stuff. And
who is that?
Greg Chin.
Oh,
Greg Chin. And I didn't know him either, but a lot of other people do, and he's getting in these honey holes that fits for him.
Right.
And same for of course, the Thomas Group, as I told you, they're killing it on YouTube. And they were there talking about their experience. It's just interesting. You know?
Yeah. I'd love to be involved.
You will be. You should have been.
I was like, why are these people? I'm just as popular on YouTube.
You're more popular than me. I mean, I sat there and I'm like, what am I doing here? But I did feel like I have something to offer. And a lot of these people, we need this. On. But a lot of these people, just like people who are watching us right now, are looking for information to help their lives.
Right.
Whether you're looking for information to help your life, buying a home, selling a home, what's happening in Las Vegas real estate, stuff like that. That's why you're here. Well, that's what they were trying to do in their own little, bit with their businesses and stuff. So
yeah. What I've been up to briefly, and then we'll get into the numbers, is that I am going through another remodel.
In the house, really?
Yep.
I scooted right in, so I didn't see anything.
Well, it's nothing yet. So I'm getting all new doors throughout the whole house. I'm getting the 3 shaker style, very modern doors with the black handles and the black hardware.
Nice.
I'm getting a whole new staircase.
Oh, you're going to redo the staircase?
Yes.
So obviously modern.
Very modern, with the white oak wood railing with the black spokes, and then the wood white oak treads about 2-inch thick coming down the stairs. And then I picked out I'm getting all new flooring too.
Wow.
And I'm doing that in a nice white oak to match the stairs, luxury vinyl plank flooring, which are the wide boards.
Okay.
So
have you talked to Charles lately?
Charles Henry?
Yeah.
No, why?
Oh, he's going to want to talk to you after he does that, because he's doing like realtor cribs.
Yeah. So, and then after that, I have my bathrooms, or the upstairs bathrooms. But I figured everyone sees the house, the stairs.
Got to do that.
You got to do that first. Yeah. Bathrooms, people don't go upstairs in my bathroom, so that'll be last.
Yeah, just get it done and it'll be cool.
Yeah. But we have this that we tried last time, which is the call us live. Once we take a break, we can say call us. I think that was a kind of a cool and
if somebody wants to do it, let's do it.
But don't call us now. Let's get talking to numbers.
Text us now if you want to get on the list.
Yes.
There you go.
Text us, because last time I had a client calling and I thought it was actually the client calling and not someone watching. Yeah. But anyways, so the numbers are pretty interesting, and typically the numbers don't lie. I say this every time. And thank you for those that are watching right now. So January's numbers are actually, let's go over it. Oh my gosh, my rental is so much carpet. Oh, I hate carpet. All right, so let's get started. So the number of closings last month was 1325, which is down 13.6% from the prior month and down 48.3% from the prior year, which typically January is a slow month.
But just not that slow.
It's
expected, though, that we knew that we would have some breaks out there.
Right. And then the medium sales price, though, remained the same at $425K, which was flat from last month, but only slightly down 2.3% from the prior year, which that number was $435,000 January 2022.
Okay. So year over year, okay. So we're down a little bit. Well, and I think technically we were down 900, but it's such a small, it doesn't even really calculate.
Right.
But so a little bit of a surprise, because I think both you and I would have thought we would tick down at least a little bit more than
We did
$900.
guess. We did guess
Yeah.
some numbers, so we'll see in our bets.
Yeah. But I really have to attribute to that to the first number, which is the slow sales pace. That's the activity that we're having.
Right.
It's just, not a lot. And I think the properties that are out there that hung over, as far as, we're not getting and we'll get into this next, but we're not getting a inventory.
Right.
Properties are hanging over. The people that had nice properties and, made a good deal on those properties, or at least gave the buyer, some of this, the hidden value loss, we know what that is too.
Right.
Not to be negative, but the reality is there's hidden value loss.
Mm-hmm.
That is that the sellers did offer closing costs in a lot of in a lot of these cases.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you offered a house $450 and you offer, but then also 10,000 closing costs, that's like 40,000
off your list.
Off the so seller's losing out.
There is a hidden value loss in there. That said, this is exactly what we wanted to see people doing, because this is what you have to do to sell a home right now. And that's great. And I hope that it, as these rates feel like they're starting to stabilize, I'm not sure, but if for 3 weeks straight, they've been going down.
Yes.
Maybe people are sort of getting used to this, seeing that they're getting prices. Sellers won't have to offer as much, and we're seeing overall stabilization in the market. It might be a slow crawl to that, but I feel like this is a sign of that.
I think this is a sign of stability.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a sign that the prices, expect prices to go like extremely crazy, like one agent states. I think this is a sign that we're finally on that stability trend.
And I gotta say, it's because we're Las Vegas.
Right.
I think Vegas, in my mind, has always had a stronger outlook. I've said it since I've known you, that I feel like Vegas will be better off than some of the states around us, even when, trouble is on the horizon.
Right.
That Vegas might be a stronger area. We're going to have to keep testing that, keep taking out the test or the pH balance on this market. But it is a good sign. And along with, if you know about the jobs report,
right.
The jobs report, now there was some, they changed how they measure some of the numbers and seasonal adjustments and all that, but nonetheless surprised the hell out of everybody and was way higher than expected. This goes into stuff that has to do with what the Fed's doing, right, and possible best case scenarios. I wasn't able to really report what I thought was good news until this last week. It's possible that is very good news for all of us. We'll have to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to keep track of all of that stuff.
Yeah, I do on my channel more of that. And I know not everybody's into the minutia like that.
Right.
But for me, that's what I feel like the people that I know want to hear right now is, well, what's happened? Why are these changes happening? And what could eventually that lead to?
Exactly. So getting back to the numbers. So as I mentioned, that January 2022, the median sales price was at $435,000. And then in January 2021, that number was $345,000.
Wow.
And in January 2020, that was $305,000.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't think we will get to the January 2021 numbers for median price.
For this year? Yeah.
For this year?
I mean, we are so far off of that. And here's the deal. The sellers are in situations that this is what we know now and what we're seeing. Why are we not seeing more inventory?
Right.
Because these sellers they're in a good interest rate. And unless they have to move, which there will be those, but unless they have to move, they're just going to kick back.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing that is a pretty big trend right now. And so while buyers do have power in this market, I think the dip, whatever we're talking about in Vegas, is not as deep as, unless other things come into play, is not as deep as a lot of these predictions have been. And believe me, I was on the worry side of this.
Yes.
I was a little worried. I would just kind of said, well, I don't think we'll ever go near 2020 numbers, which I was really positive about. But could we chew into all of 2021? Well, we're a long ways. We're 90,000.
Yeah.
With just the interest rates being the only thing that's affecting this,
right,
don't see it happening.
Well, especially if we're seeing the interest rates more stable.
Yes.
And I don't see it happening because, this is going to be the new norm. We're just going to have to get used to the 6%, 5%, for however many years, 10 plus years, we were used to the 3 and 4% interest rates.
Yeah, and
we got spoiled.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is. And you have people that are at that 3.5, 2 in the twos some cases. So for them to sell, they got to sell in a market they're not excited about selling.
Right.
And excuse me, excuse me.
Do you need water?
I'm okay, I think. I've been talking a lot. Excuse me, one more. So they then would have to turn around and buy. Right. And so they're going to give up that low rate to buy in a higher rate.
Yeah.
That's tough for a lot of people. And unless you're moving out of state for work or things like that,
right.
Yeah,
exactly. So then I'm going to go over the median price for condos and townhomes. Or having trouble streaming to Facebook. Oh, who cares about Facebook? I don't care. All right.
There's some poor person like I do.
Well, Facebook has it now from StreamYard that you have to create an event. It doesn't go straight to my Facebook page. And afterwards, it'll finally post on my Facebook page. But I'm not going to invite everybody. That's stupid. I'm not going to invite people on Facebook.
You need it to be live.
Yeah, I need it to be live.
They want you to use their features.
Exactly. So the median price of condos and townhomes went from $246,950 in December to $255,000 in January, which is up 3.3% from the prior month, but also up 4.9% from the prior year. So condos and townhomes are still hanging in there.
Yeah. And this is where that final bit of anything that I could say about that, there will be some gains in, from 2022 that we would have. This is that last remnants of, yes, there it is. We have some gain, but it's the condo market and where everybody sort of had to slide back to, right? They do not want to rent and they just want to own. And that is going to be smart for them in the long run. I do believe, even if they are buying at what they feel like is a high.
Right. So the median price for condos and townhomes for 2022 January was $243,000. For January 2021, it was $193,000. And for January 2020, it was $175,000. So the condos are hanging in there. They're above last year's numbers.
Yeah. And I'm seeing this a lot where this story, but I see it really, the luxury market plays this out the most. People that were thinking, I will buy in luxury. And then they're like, oh, wait, these rates went up. Oh, this market looks a little da-da-da-da. Well, let me buy something cheaper. And then what I'm going to do is eventually still buy in luxury, but now I've got a rental property.
Okay.
Right. So I think a lot of people are doing this move just in the lower ends where it's like, oh yeah, I was going to buy a single family home. Okay, I'm going to slide down to condo, get something affordable, something I know even if I get squeezed, I can afford this.
Right.
And then that'll be my eventual rental property, ideally.
Sense.
And they're not even worried about selling it. They're worried about renting it down the road and making back or most of their mortgage.
And another thing real quick, speaking what's going up, crypto market's been going up too.
Has it really?
Yeah. So that could help a lot because I have a lot of clients that are into the whole crypto thing.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but I know
either.
People make some money and they cash out and they can buy things. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. To be honest, I've been surprised except for the FTX one that really, really screwed the whole market up there. I've been surprised that crypto went down as much as it did because the people that believe in it, that have talked to me about it, believe that it has this big future. It does make sense to me and how it's used. So, yeah.
All right. So let's get to the luxury market and then we'll take calls. So in the luxury market, there were 70 homes that sold in January that were over $1 million compared to December 60 homes, which is a 10 home increase. And this is pretty interesting also that the median sales price for the luxury market increased to $1.575 million. And in December, that number was $1.512. So there was a 62,000, a little over 62,000 increase in median price for the luxury homes. And that's probably why our median price has probably been more stable.
You are pointing something out. Yes, I would say so.
So the luxury market is faring pretty well. And the reason I think that we have less numbers is because a lot of the homes that were initially in that luxury market that hit that 1 million mark are no longer in that 1 million mark. So I think that's why the number of homes have been decreasing because of that.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you that the people that are buying in that luxury market in general are not as concerned or pinched when they see these
Well,
rates.
a lot of my clients in that market pay cash.
Yeah, they're a lot of cash deals. And, maybe these were the people that were going to buy a $3 million, $4 million home, but now they're sizing down a little bit. Okay, we'll just buy this with cash and then we don't have any mortgage.
Right.
So they were going to use a mortgage. Now they're not going to use a mortgage. They just get a slightly less. Oh my goodness. $1.5 million home versus, oh geez, that's a bummer. So stuff like that.
Right.
But I also think it's just generally speaking a more stable area when rates are all over the place. Not to mention that there are more luxury homes coming on, but not a lot of inventory there. So, there's not if you're looking for the 4 or 5 bedroom single story in Summerlin, that has all the bells and whistles, there are not a lot of them.
Right.
And one comes up, it actually gets
especially
sold.
If you add a pool to the mix.
Pool, yeah.
Which everyone that moves through to Vegas wants a pool.
Yeah. So they're just not in a lot of numbers there. So I think that, there's maybe not enough to eat up all the inventory, but there's enough to keep that sort of
right.
Those numbers don't look bad considering how awful, well, comparatively speaking,
right,
our overall numbers are.
Yeah. So, you guys, there's not many people watching today. I guess the 1 o'clock time frame is not a good slot for us.
Might have been my fault there.
But if you want to call the 3 people that are watching, text us first and then call us so we know that you are a live person. If not, if you have any questions, let us know. If not, we're just going to continue on, right?
Well, this means we have to do another one this month and really actually do another one.
Yes.
We'll do it at a proper time.
There's so much competition right now that our numbers aren't as much as they used to be, our view numbers.
I think that's partially the competition, partially the attention that people are putting towards.
But other people that are still doing the same thing,
you think they're
getting better views than us. All right. So let's get into the number of new listings. So for January, we had a total of 2,477 new listings, which is up 47.7% from December, but down 14.6% from the prior year. And I made a side note that in January 2022, there were 2,900 new listings on the market. So just slightly, 500 or under 500 more listings in 2022 than there was January. So, that's telling me it's pretty comparable.
Yeah. It's, and it's what I thought that there would be, more listings, but overall we're still not in any kind of crazy amount of inventory.
No.
It is, I knew, and I know from my own clients and people that I've talked to that have been considering listing, they were going to drop in on January, February, March.
Right.
So we're going to see a little, certainly a little bit more.
Speaking of listings, I will be having a listing going live next week. It's up in the Northwest. It has the 2-car garage, but RV parking.
Okay.
It has a pool. I can't remember the square footage, but it's nicely done. So stay tuned for that. I don't remember specifics on prices and stuff because
what's the cross street? Is it
It's kind of by the Santa Fe.
Okay.
Up in that area, 89130 zip code.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is a shocking number or not a shocking number, but there's a total number of 5,450 single family homes listed without offers at the end of January. In December, that number was 6,211. So it's down 12.3% from December, but up 199.3% from the prior year. So our inventory is shrinking.
This is a good news too. Definitely a surprise to me how little desire there is for people to put their property on the market.
Well, I mean, they know, one, why should they list their home if they still have a 3% interest rate to go up to something that's better with a higher interest rate? So people are staying put. The only people that are technically really selling is one, if someone passed away in the house, or they have to move, right?
Yeah. I mean,
for the most part,
yeah.
Unless they can sell their house and then buy a new construction home and get a super duper deal.
There are some people that are sort of cashing out on their investments and just deciding, because of the interest rates, that they'd like to put their money back in a bank account, and they feel like real estate isn't exciting right now. I think that if you're doing that, you're not doing you're doing a bad job of renting your property.
Yeah, I mean, you can still get some really good rents.
Yeah.
But the rental market's not as crazy as it used to be. There's a lot of rentals out there.
It's definitely not as crazy. It's definitely more getting back to more traditional. It's going to be at a threshold that isn't necessarily awesome for people to rent, but it's definitely not going up and away. I would say, let's put ourselves in an investor's shoes right now. I own 15 properties in Las Vegas.
Right.
I know that yes, I'm getting this, but I'm seeing a weakening, market. Do I want to diversify a little bit? Maybe sell a couple of those properties, put some of that cash in my bank, and then maybe re-enter the market later?
But you can't. If you're an investor, you have to do a 1031 exchange.
Well, yes. Well, okay. You could do a 1031 exchange. I guess you do have to pay the taxes on it.
So or pay the taxes on it, but or if you don't want to pay the taxes on it, put it in a 1031 exchange. Then you have to buy more.
Okay. That's a great point. That is a great point. So the taxes are an issue, and that is why you're not seeing a lot of that movement. And it's also, you're great. That's a great point. It's also why a lot of these investors these people that are saying this investor market's just going to be the crater.
Right.
I don't know what they're thinking. There's one guy on YouTube that's out there just talking about this great investor, decline because of like these big pools of investors that bought homes, and they're all going to sell at once. And I'm like, are you nuts?
Well, we talked about that quite a few market updates ago but they haven't.
And they won't. Why would you? I mean, you just brought up the great point, but they're also making money on. Well,
you got two different types of investors, though. You got those iBuyer investors, and then you got a normal investor that has for residual income.
Yeah, the mom and pop.
Exactly. So if a mom and pop type of investor owns 15 properties, if they sell it, they're going to have to put it back into a 1031 exchange and then buy new property. I never understood why someone would get into that game if they would have to invest into unless I guess they pay the taxes on it.
Well, and if you've been a long time investor, let's say, maybe it's worth it to go ahead and cash out on a couple properties and pay the taxes, because you just want to again, diversify just enough.
Yeah, liquidate some of the inventory.
But that would mean that you participated in a time where you bought at that property at such a low price, the taxes are almost insignificant.
Right.
Or just you kind of eat that and say, okay, I
makes sense.
And maybe you're sort of hedging your bet, saying, if you're worried about the market going any worse for you, so you're saying, I need to take some of these winnings. Now you could also do that and maybe do what you're talking about, a 1031.
But where is anyone why would anyone diversify if the stock market's not that good? Where else are they going to diversify their investments?
But you can put money in a bank and make a little bit of money.
Yeah, ain't much though.
It's not great, but it's starting to. But also, you're looking for the new investment that you can jump back into. So maybe you're thinking, I'm going to hedge in case this market does go down so much that I can rebuy into that market and do what I did in the initial purchase of these.
Right. Makes sense.
Somebody could be thinking that way.
Right. Oh, we had a missed call, but I don't think it was anyone important because it's an 844 number.
I don't know. You 844 people.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like 888 or
I don't know.
800. All right. So that brings us to the housing supply. Let's get to the sheet. We are at 4.1 months of housing or inventory, which last month it was 4.0. So we are up 1.6% from December, but still at 478.5% from the year before, which is understandable. But this is an interesting number.
It's a big number, damn.
This number is 38.5% of the closings for the month of January. January was only on the market for 30 days or less. In December, it was 40.8%, and in January 2022, it was 71.3%. So what is that telling you, folks? It's telling us the homes are staying on the market longer than 30 days. And if your home doesn't sell in 30 days, don't panic, because the only 38.5% of the homes are selling within 30 days.
Yeah.
All right. But what that means is, as a seller, what to expect as a seller. Okay. I've actually had 3 closings last month. I have 2 closings this month, and I was able to get really good deals by lowering the price and asking for closing costs. So I was able to double dip on both ends and get the price much lower, plus have the sellers pay for the closing costs. So I mean, the sellers are taking the hit, which you said was loss. What was that term?
It's a hidden value loss.
Hidden value loss that the sellers are taking. But as we said in the beginning of this video, there's an agent out there that's telling you not to buy. In my opinion, why not take advantage of this?
Listen, you can get basically in the 4s on your rate if you can get the buy down by the seller. You can get a lower price. You can reverse the clock a little bit.
Well, and 2, like if I get all the closing costs covered, say something needs to be done in the house, a little updating, all that money is still in your pocket and you don't have to give it up. Like I had one client that didn't pay anything at closing.
This is a really great point, because what did we have last year, going into this time of the year? We had people throwing their freaking cat and dog into the deal. They're paying cat. It's crazy to think that people don't think this time has anything good for a buyer right now. When last year the prices were going up and up, and people would have to pay over appraisal,
and they'd let people rent back for 6 months free.
Yeah, they're bleeding to make this happen.
Right.
And now you can have the opposite effect on a seller. Now, not maybe not to that extreme, but it's pretty extreme. And a seller may be okay with that. Now, let me ask you, how many offers are you putting in to get that one that you finally get, that like where they say, okay, we'll do all this?
You mean how many counters back and forth?
Well, are you getting it done on the first house that they like, and then
okay,
or is it like sometimes you meet a brick wall?
We find one house, and I mean that's it. We put like this one client called me on Saturday. I want to see this house. We saw it on Saturday. We put in an offer, and
boom, boom. So these are the sellers that are understand. Well, but on the seller side, they're the ones that are understanding. What I do run into sometimes is that these sellers are brick walls, and they're ding dongs.
Well, you probably discuss with your sellers the reality of the matter.
They're not my sellers doing this, but
no, but your sellers,
yes.
Absolutely. Have a heart-to-heart discussion and say, hey, this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. You may get an offer and it may not be what you're looking for, but typically nowadays offers are few and far between, that it's probably going to be your best offer that you're going to get.
It may be.
It may be the only offer.
It may be. But there are still some properties on the market that are just, they're brick walls. They're just like, so that's why I asked that, because I've run into that a few times where I'm like, man, I can't believe these people won't at least negotiate.
And there's still some properties that sell like that get a couple multiple offers just because of how awesome the property is and
awesome property.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It is not desolate. I thought entering into this year that it might be more so than it is. That's really good news, I would say. Again, we're 3 weeks now, going maybe on 4 weeks. I'll have to see if we're lowering our rates again this week. But basically, it's all priced in, everything the Fed's doing already into mortgage rates. It's already priced into the bond market. This is good for buyers because, again, now, ideally, we don't have a lot more volatility ahead. But if we can stay that way, you can still ask a seller to buy down your rate, even pay your closing costs, and maybe even give you a reduction on their list price. It's so wild that last year,
folks,
people would cut off their arm to buy.
Now is a great time to buy. And we're not being greedy agents, because we're going to have those snarky people write in the comments that we're being greedy agents. I just believe,
I welcome it.
And wholeheartedly do not believe agents that are telling you not to buy now, because in my personal opinion, I think the market's going to start slowly upticking, and the sellers may not be giving as, because we're hitting into the spring selling season right now. And the sellers may not be willing to give the barn away like they were.
Yeah, I think they're going in more prepared as time goes. Sellers are more and more like, okay, here's where I'm at. I can do it if I get this. And there's less sort of, emergency sellers. Well,
plus the inventory keeps on going down.
Yeah.
We went from 62 something to
it's going to go up. It did tick up.
It did, but I think the sales will, it did, but we went from 60 to 11 to 54.50.
Yeah. This is the way I look at it in the moment. Okay. You still want to be one of the lucky sellers to get your property sold. Okay?
Right.
Ideally, we get more buyer activity, and we still don't have a whole bunch more inventory activity. And then we're keeping it in healthy territories. That is what the Fed would like to see, is that we don't start tipping way, way over. And then what I think you're alluding to, what I'd be worried about if I was a buyer, is that the floodgates get opened up by the Fed, maybe earlier than expected. As soon as they start lowering rates, it's going to go around to everybody.
Right.
And that's where I think you're going to start seeing what you're talking about, which is the market actually swinging back up a little bit.
Right.
More competition. And so it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen, but let's deal with what we have right now.
Right.
There is good news. There is wow, okay, there's some stability starting to form. Let's see what happens, because typically going into this time of year, and my mother said it to me too, she had to kind of talk me off a cliff a little bit about this too. She said, Rob, I've been in the business since 1976, and every spring, every single spring, even when we had all those short sales and foreclosures and stuff, there was more activity in the spring.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I mean, if she's wrong, I don't know.
No, I don't.
Mama, how?
I feel it.
Angela Hair. Yeah. I think you're onto something. We'll see.
So anyway, and then we always look, at houses that have been on the market for 30 days or longer. We also analyze the comps to see if it's not being overpriced. There's so many things that we look at when we make the offer, but sometimes one of the offers, the house was comped pretty accordingly. So we didn't ask for a lower price, but we asked for everything else,
that's where we come in, and we have to help our buyers make that determination. And ideally we have buyers that trust us and say, okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Right. But as speaking for interest rates, mortgage rates are still well above a year ago levels, but have ticked lower recently. The average rate of on a 30-year home loan was 6.09% as of last week, up from 3.55% a year earlier.
Yep. And that's what I'm talking about, because we were above 7 for a second. That's a big difference.
Alrighty. Yeah. I mean, 7, we were almost taking it closer to 8.
It was ugly.
And there was people predicting 9% at the end of the year, but it never happened.
I think part of the equation here is not the reality of what's happening, but the impression of what's happening. And so fear has been stoked into this market, right?
Right.
That occurred to me. I have a good friend that said something about that's more into the stock market, and he was talking about fear. And I think back on, I don't know if I probably mentioned this to you, but I think back on 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with people who were fearful to buy back then, that I can assure you are not fearful about what in retrospect, they should have bought everything they looked at, everything they could touch. Okay, so that fear factor is interesting, because who got into the marketplace back then first were the investors.
Yeah.
I still see investor activity. Do you still get the people open doors? I still get the mail.
I'm starting to see them again.
I've been getting it. They're looking to pawn shop your home, folks. So don't go near those people.
Right.
But the fact that they're still active means they still see value in that market. Of course, they got to get a deal from you, but it tells me even during 2020, they did stop for a second.
Yeah, they did.
So it's not as if they just keep doing it because they don't see anything. They are doing it because they see something. I think that's a tell. I think that's a tell of, where things are, especially when you hear somebody say, oh, these investors are all going to have this hard time. Why aren't they backing out? Why are they less fearful than the residential home buyers?
Right. I mean, I think some of them will bleed a little,
Sure.
They won't make what they put into the house, but I think some of them held on to it. And now that spring selling season.
We got somebody?
Oh no.
Yeah, they will. But this is also still an investment, and then with investment comes risk. So if you bought in 2022 an investment property and April of 2022, you may have made a bad investment,
Right.
and you're going to have to live with that. And ideally, you're somebody who that wasn't your only investment,
Right. Well, we are, if anyone has any questions, please let us know. But we're going to get into, like I have been talking about probably the last 6 months or so, we've been talking about is new builder incentives. And the new builder incentives are not gone away yet. A lot of them are offering even better interest rates than they were last fall. Okay. So, during the craziness, and I say this every time, a lot of these builders built what's called quick move-in homes. Taylor Morrison, Pulte, Century Communities, to name a few. They have a lot of what's called quick move-in, standing inventory. What else? Spec homes. They all mean the same. So they got to get rid of them. Okay. What happens once they get rid of them, then these communities are going to become a normal building market where you build from ground up. Okay. Yep. And then once you start building from ground up, build on demand, you're not going to see as many great incentives as you are now. So that's why I've been saying, and I'm not saying this to be greedy, but I've gotten some really killer deals from my clients when they bought new construction home.
Yeah.
Okay. Brand new home, decorated nicely with all the beautiful upgrades. I mean, you can't go wrong. So with that said, the first builder I have on the list is Taylor Morrison. And it says, enjoy lower payments for the first 3 years with limited time finance savings on select homes when you use Taylor Morrison's in-house lender. So for the first year, get this.
This is wild.
Get this. For the first year, the interest rate is 2.49%.
Wow.
Okay. For the second year, 3.49%. And for the third year, 4.49%. And then from year 40 to 30, 5.49%, which is still lower than the average of 6.09%.
I mean, yeah.
Say what?
I haven't seen anything like that.
I mean, come on.
That's really good. I mean, unless there's some hidden hitch, which
Well, the only hitch is you have to buy a quick move-in home.
Okay, so easy enough. And as long as they're not saying you can't refinance it or something like that, they know that what you'll do is you'll hold on to this for probably those first few years. And if you have an opportunity to refinance, you're out. You're going to get you can hold on to a locked rate.
Right.
And even if you don't, you end up at 5.49, which is, like you said,
below the 6.09. And they are also offering incentives when you build your own home too. But probably not as that. I mean, this is 2.49% the first year, and even 3.49 the second, and 4.49 is still, I think, pretty good. Yeah. And hopefully by then the interest rates may go down. We just never know. You could refinance if it does, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But by the way, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to interrupt while you keep doing that.
Okay.
I'm going to do a story because I want all those people who just became my friends on Instagram to see us here and make sure they all get on
Yeah. All right. So the next builder is Toll Brothers, and they're going to be having their national sales event from February 11th through the 26th with limited time incentives. Get up to 1% permanent interest rate reduction and 110-day rate lock for their quick move-in homes when you use their in-house lender. Offer only on certain inventory homes, and contract must be after January 10th and close by March 31st, 2023.
Update with Angela O'Hare. Sorry to interrupt. I hope everybody got that information before I interrupted. Check it out. Angela O'Hare's channel. She's everywhere.
Yep. So, Pulte, Toll Brothers, I don't think that's really a good incentive compared to Taylor Morrison. And, I do love Toll Brothers. I've sold a lot of Toll Brothers, but their houses take friggin' forever unless you get a quick move-in home.
Yeah.
I have a client that bought a condo at Miravilla, which I said, we went under contract October 2021. It was supposed to be ready December 2022. Now it's pushed back to hopefully next month.
Wow.
March of 2023.
Wow.
So Toll Brothers takes forever.
Yeah.
All right. So, but for the next builder, we have Pulte, and Pulte is offering special financing on a 30-year fixed rate at 4.25% for all their quick move-in homes when you use their in-house lender. offer is available from again January 10th through, and they must close by March 31st.
My goodness.
So
if you need to get a home, you're coming from out of state, you need to get here now. These are good deals.
Yes. And I'm going to be doing a video soon. It's called Pulte Blowout Sale. On top of these great incentives, they're actually reducing the prices of their homes. So I like to do a video. Maybe we could do that video.
Yeah, I'd be
a
happy
live
to do that.
Pulte video. I just got to figure out how to share.
Bring the rig.
Share how live and all the specials that they're having.
Oh, gotcha.
But I mean, killer deals here, folks.
Yeah, and what do you say to somebody that says you're just feeding us a line? It's going to get even cheaper ahead. I think we already said it though, right, folks? They're going to do this until they don't have these standing inventory homes,
right?
And then they're going to build on demand. And once they're to that point, they're not going to be offering these incentives. They're going to be holding very firm with their pricing. And that's where they're at. It's going to be this.
And the only incentives that they will offer, what they have done in the past, was like offer 3% towards your closing costs. That was it.
There might be some stuff, but
right.
This is packing it in. This is packing, especially that first one. But this isn't bad. 4.2.
No, but wait till you see the tri-point ones.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
So Richmond American also, what they're saying is Richmond American, make your move this season without worrying about the mortgage market. So basically for homes that close by April 28th with a VA and FHA loan, it's at 4.875%, but with a 30-year conventional, it's at 5.5%. So really that's not much savings on a conventional loan, in my opinion. I mean, it's like what, 50 points from the 6.09. But again, all of this is you have to use their in-house lender.
Yeah. And I mean, so the conventional is cool though, because if you're putting down more money, you're going to have a smaller amount that you're mortgaging, right. So a little bit higher rate isn't.
Well, for an FHA loan, the minimum amount you have to put down is 3.5%. For a VA loan, 0%. And for a conventional, 3% is the minimum down payment that you have to put down. Yeah.
Most people will choose a little bit higher on that conventional.
Right.
But
yeah, conventional, if you put the minimum payment down, you will have to be paying PMI.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of people will go at least 20% or whatnot.
Right, if they can afford it. But if they can buy a house but don't have that extra cash on hand, they'll go the most minimal amount.
Yeah.
So then we have Tri-Point Homes, and they're still having their New Year New Home event. And they've been starting to do a couple of the quick move-ins as well. Get special pricing and financing on select move-in ready homes during the New Year New Home event. You can take advantage of limited time, below market, conventional 30-year fixed 3-to-1 buy down. So the first year is at 2.99%. The second year is going to be 3.99%. The third year, 4.99%. And then from years 4 through 30, 5.99%. So very similar to Taylor Morrison.
Yeah, just excellent. I mean, look, if you got to buy and you want to buy a new home, you're not a renter, won't do it. There are a lot of people like that. These are great options. And you may be able to get this in the resale market, but look, it's laid out very simple for people here. That's what I like.
Well, and another thing, what I was seeing was when I have been selling was that I was able to get the house under contract at the price that it's offered on the website, the base price.
Yeah.
With all the upgrades. So like my client got a Richmond American home that was priced at, for example, $500,000, but they had $50,000 in upgrades, and the price on the internet was $450,000. We got it down to that price.
Really?
With all the upgrades in it.
Yeah.
So pretty much you're getting the upgrades kind of for free.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way. So a lot of these, when you do buy new construction, and if you're thinking about buying new construction, one, you need to bring Robin or I with you on the very first visit. And two, you need an agent, an experienced agent that works in new construction, because we know how to finagle these deals for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You are in negotiation city, and that's what you want an agent for. And I guess we have had some years here where we didn't blame people for just going to the builder and whatever. Okay, it's I mean, you still didn't get value out of the value you could have, but really now is very, very important.
Yes.
You know,
I mean, with my buyers that build new construction, I'm always there every step of the way. I do their frame walk. I do their final walk. I take notes during I'm very, very service oriented when it comes to new construction clients. And you don't get that oftentimes, or you won't get that when you use their in-house agent.
No, it just is so smart to have. I mean, that's what an agent is. I mean, you're so smart to have somebody, another set of eyes, and experienced eyes, professional eyes on your transaction,
right?
To make sure that everything goes smoothly, to make sure that they're not just sort of like sliding stuff by you.
Well, and another thing too, not only are they offering these special financing, 9 times out of 10, they're also offering closing cost incentives.
Yeah.
So you will not have to come out of closing money pocket, just your down payment. So, for example, I forgot what I was going to say, but anyway, actually, people are going to buying new construction than resale because they can get all these great incentives, even though that the sellers are offering closing cost incentives and lowering the price.
I think what it is the messaging. Like I said, this is so simple. So, I talk to people all the time and their eyes roll back. And when I see their eyes rolling back in their head, I'm like, I'm not explaining this simply enough.
Right.
It's not as clear as it needs to be. Well, when you see it written by, advertised in this way, it's very palatable for people. Right.
And the last builder is KB Homes. And it's pretty much the same as the last couple of months. Basically, what it's saying is if you use their in-house lender, you can lock in a rate at 4.99% for up to 270 days. I didn't understand what that means. You said that they can lock in the rate at 4.99. So if they bought it like 3 months ago, they are locked in it for a total of 270 days at that interest rate.
Yeah. So this is KB may not have as many of these standing inventory properties. I'm not exactly sure.
Not too many.
So if they're building on demand, this is how they're going to give you their best offer, which you can see is okay. It's not bad. But it's not as good as the standing inventory by any stretch. They're able to give you better. But what they're doing is making sure during that build time, they can lock that rate for you,
which is good. I think right now TriPoint and Taylor Morrison and Pulte have the best deals right now.
It would appear.
Yeah.
All
right, last, so we can get this done. Bets. Who won?
Well, I've been a loser all week, so it makes sense. You crushed it. These are really surprising numbers to me, but again, for the benefit of everyone, that they're a surprise, including her lunch for 2 weeks, I guess now, 2 months now.
I have to get a very expensive lunch.
Yeah. Whoa.
So medium sales price, Rob said that it would decrease by 7,000. Ange said 6,000, and it actually was 0.
Yeah.
So since I was like the closest, I won that one. But without offers, Rob said it would go up to 7,000. I said 6,500, and it was 5,450. So I again won that one. And then months of supply, Rob said 4.7. I said 4.2, and it was 4.1. So I won that one as well.
Yeah.
So I won all 3 bets.
You can clearly see that I've had a more negative outlook on things, and I pretty much Price is right at every one of those to that negative.
Let's see. We got a comment finally. How much more expensive is a new build compared to a comparable existing home? I wonder if the good interest rate is even worth it if the house is a lot more. It's actually pretty comparable now, I think.
Yeah, they're really making it competitive.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay a little more premium on a new home, but
not much these days, I think.
And when you know that you're getting that, that 3-2-1 buy down deal, when you know that you're getting other things built into it, and the other big one is how meaningful it is to have a new home.
Right.
A lot of people want to be in those new areas, and they really love that. So if that all weighs heavily to you, it's an easy call. The resale market, you're going to have to go out and see what you can do. you might be able to get smashing rates on that. You might be able to get a better price, and you're going to be able to if you keep chopping away, but you're going to have to keep chopping away. This is easy. I walk in, they tell me what it is. They check me out. I'm ready to go, and I'm into that deal.
Yeah.
And if it's a standing inventory, we're closing in 30 to 45 days.
Usually 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one that we went under contract last week, and we're closing March 2nd.
Wow. Very quick.
Yeah. 30-day closing.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them are ready to
It's
go.
a short month in February, so it's very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean,
all right.
There is value in new, and that's always been the case.
Yeah. I mean, Rob and I, we like our older homes. I love my home. It's built in 1992. When was yours built?
Oh, mine's
85?
84. 84, yeah.
Yeah. I like my neighborhood, but
Love my neighborhood.
I mean, I love a new home, but the houses are closer together. The yards aren't as big, not as private. The streets are narrower. There's a lot of pros and
had to
cons.
sink a lot into our homes.
Yes.
So there's always, people go, well, I got to get a new home, and then I got to do the backyard. And it's like, okay, but if you get an older home and you want it to be awesome, you may have to do a lot of work on it.
Yeah, but my only downside is because I'm a realtor, I see a lot of new construction model homes. I want my house to look like that.
We get snobby. For
I'm
sure.
like, well, plus, my house isn't that bad.
No.
I mean, I did the kitchen 2 years ago.
It's not bad. Bad isn't even the word you would use.
Yeah,
but it just gets your level of what you're looking at.
Your expectations. But let's for predictions. I'll go first.
Okay.
We'll go over that in just a minute. So I will predict, since we had a 0 decrease in median price, I'm saying that the market is stabilized and is going up. I'm going to say, just to stick to with what I'm saying, is that we'll have $1,000 increase.
All right.
For median price next month.
Well, it's easy for me to price right that one, and it would be sticking with a little bit more of the middle ground on this. And I do think that we will see a slight decline. So I'll just go with $1,000 decline, even though I think it will be more.
Okay.
So we'll see on that one. And if we're in the middle, well, I'll just give it to you on that one. If it lands like flat, I'll just say that's got to be you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So without offers, you can go first.
Go first without offers. Yeah, I think it's gonna tick up. I don't know. I don't want to go all the way up to my 7,000 number, but I think we're gonna see without offers tick up to over 6,000. So 6,250. Let's just say.
Okay.
I'm being gentle.
You may win. I'm going to say, since it's at 54.40 and we did decrease from the month before, we decreased 62.11. I'm going to say 5,000. I'm just going to go with my trend.
Okay.
With what I'm going with.
That would be incredibly strong.
Well, that's only 450 difference between actual and
now. I just think it would be great for the outlook of the market to see that.
And then, well, let me see what the difference is between 62.11. Oh,
you're actually going to do a calculation?
Minus 54.50 equals 761. I'm comfortable with 5,000.
Okay.
I know more homes will go on the market because it is spring selling season, but I also know that the buyer demand will increase, so it'll counteract that. Okay. So that's the story I'm sticking to. All right. So months of supply, I'm going to say 3.9.
Oh, you're going down.
Well, yeah, because all my numbers are increasing.
Yeah. You got to go.
I got to stick with what are you going to say?
I guess I'll have to go to 4.2 to give us some wedge in there.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's actually going to be more than that. But
really?
Yeah. But look, I've been wrong the last couple months. I was somewhat mixed bag last month and now completely wrong this month.
Let me just put this in the notes.
That's not a usual trend for me, where I'd really just
usually I'm the one that's not You know, you've been winning a lot last
Well,
year.
I mean, even when we weren't doing these, like whether or not you thought so, I've been able to kind of hit what was happening for the last 3 years, and right now it's kind of
All right. So
not
what's
so
the
much.
best area with large yard and no HOA? So as we've probably talked before, you know, you want to live in a community that does have an HOA. Las Vegas neighborhoods that don't have an HOA, unless it's like one of those vintage neighborhoods, are going to be crappy, right?
I mean, not
Well,
no.
I mean, your neighborhood's nice. You don't have an HOA, right?
Yeah, I picked my neighborhood because it's a pride of ownership neighborhood.
Right.
You know,
But most neighborhoods that don't have an HOA are older
mhm.
and they have not maintained the value of that neighborhood.
So I would say in generally speaking, that can be true. You know, it's leaving it up to everybody to how they decide to keep their properties. But there are, in particular, when you say what's the best area with large yard and no HOA, I mean, how large a yard are you talking? Because
and not only large, but how much are you wanting to spend?
Yeah. So if you're in section 10, for example,
True.
section 3, if you're in, I mean, some people would look at that in like section 3 versus section 10 and say section 3 has a little bit of like not so great stuff, especially if you're used to Summerlin.
Right.
But if that's what you want, it's actually awesome. And it's not ghetto. It's not by any stretch.
True.
It's nice.
You're right.
So, and then if you're going to go out to like, you know, out Northwest where there's
Cheyenne,
larger lot properties and stuff like that. So it just depends on how large you're talking. Now, older homes with no HOA, like my neighborhood, they are the ones that do have the larger lots. If you're speaking of that, like more track style, you know, from
that's what he's saying. That's preferred, not ghetto.
Yeah,
mid-price range.
Yeah, so mid-price range, more like my area. You are looking for, I think, just as west side as possible. I really love west side. You know, as close to Summerlin as possible. You're looking for that.
There's little pockets though.
Yes, you're looking for, and we know them, and that's why I chose my neighborhood, for sure. I just had different needs for what I wanted in my life, and I'm very, very happy with that. But it's not like you can just say, okay, that area with no HOA, I'll go to it. You know, there might be some areas in Spring Valley that are, you know, that's where I grew up, and some of that area is not so sweet.
Not anymore.
You know, people don't take care of their stuff over there as much.
Right.
You go one part of it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the closer
it looks like
the areas that are close to the lakes and Summerlin, there are little pockets that don't have HOA that still have the mid-price range houses.
Same thing in the Green Valley area. You just got to know where to look, and you might need to filter that out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt's also asking why the increase in price and sales predictions. In the beginning of the video, I stated that we are now stable, and I have a feeling because we're hitting the spring selling season that I feel that we are going to have a slight uptick. So that's why I did only 1,000 increase in median price and maintaining that with the months of supply and without offers. So with my prediction, it kind of coincides, right?
Yep. I'm sorry. I love this. Rusty Shackelford, you are awesome, because I know what Rusty Shackelford is referring to. That is King of the Hill, and that is Dale Gribble's alter ego. If that is, I hope that's not your real name. I mean, if it is, that's funny. But I think you're referring to. But anyway, so you are right that it can be very obvious when you drive into a neighborhood. Rusty Shackelford. By the way, my dog is named Shackelford. That's his nickname, is Rusty Shackelford. Seriously. And you can tell sometimes when you drive into a neighborhood.
Right.
But I will say there are some HOA neighborhoods you can drive into and you go, is there an HOA, or they're not taking care of their business?
Right.
It's gotten better through the years, but I certainly remember when after the Great Recession, some of these HOAs went to hell. They weren't doing their job. They weren't telling people to not put their washer dryer combo out front, you know.
Sorry. I forgot to look up Century Communities.
Oh,
I think they are having incentives, and I apologize, I didn't add them to my list.
Okay.
But
Call her
for
up.
cash buyers, incentives, basically for cash buyers, they'll pay for all your closing costs, and we'd be able to negotiate down in price.
Yep.
That's probably pretty much the only incentives you can get as a cash buyer. But if you can get it a lot cheaper, plus not have to come out of extra money out of your pocket, then that's a good deal.
If cash buyer Rob is looking at all his options, and maybe if the new home sales, they're not going to give me what I feel like is a really good deal for my cash, maybe I end up looking at resale.
Well, we just bought we just had a cash buyer.
Mm-hmm.
I just sold a Lennar home in Heritage, and my cash buyer got 4%, and that 4% could be utilized towards anything. And that
Wonderful.
could be used to lower the price of the home, plus and closing costs.
So some people, that new home is so important to them. Some people, getting the best deal possible might be that using their cash to really they just
and
love that
you know
part,
what? Shame on me. I think I forgot to add Lennar too. Lennar's, I think, having stuff too. I mean, either way, if you're thinking about buying new construction, reach out to one of us and we'll get you a great deal.
Yeah.
What else?
I'm surprised Rusty Shackelford didn't say anything. Matt, you in the hood. I'm in Desert Inn in Arville, kind of sketchy at the moment. So, a little higher crime there, Matt. And don't know if that'll ever change too much. That area's been, speaking of stable, it's stably sort of the criminess, if you will. It's not awful, but it's like, it's not like gonna change too much. I don't think it's suddenly gonna swing around and get way, way better. You are near Chinatown and a lot of great food, so that's great.
A lot of people like to be by Chinatown.
Yeah.
Well, I think if anyone else has any comments or would like to call us, let us know. Oh, here we go.
We got something.
I got something from Century Communities.
Oh,
just as you guys were asking, literally 2:06 a minute ago. There's Cantero 1 home of the week. Plus enjoy 3% towards closing costs.
And what was the design center stuff? Design upgrades and lot premiums
are
now
included.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
When you buy, so for limited time only, design upgrades and lot premiums are included with move-in ready homes that close by March 31st. Plus you enjoy 3% towards your closing costs. So bam, that's what Century Communities is having.
Oh man, Matt, you sound like a country song. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my car was stolen, apartment kicked in, and everything taken. All right, sorry.
All right.
I'm silly sometimes. Folks, that's my favorite thing to do, is be silly. You have a great day, Matt, as well. You know what? Contact us when you're ready to find a place that your car won't get stolen and an apartment kicked in. That would be great.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And the biggest takeaway is, as a buyer, you can still get a super duper phenomenal great deal. As a seller, you need to use an agent that is taking professional photos. I mean, especially in this market. Yeah. I mean, come on.
They got it. If your agent's not trying hard for you, you're
why would you accept an agent using their cell phone as photos of your house?
I can't even believe we're talking about this in 2023.
It still happening.
Unbelievable. I know. I've seen it, and I even tell my buyer, I don't know. They must know that the seller doesn't really want to sell the house, property,
right?
Yeah, they're just like, hey, I'll put a listing up. I mean, I'm going to do as little as possible. It's terrible,
right? But as a seller, you have to have the expectations that, one, it is a buyer's market.
Yeah.
And two, the buyer is going to be asking for a lot. And if you need to sell your home, then you need to,
Listen, the best sales pitch I can give you for selling is that in 2021, the median price was $90,000 less. Okay. You have still won. So put your things into perspective. If you need to sell, if you want to sell, you have still won. That's right. Great. So go ahead and get it done sooner than later. And if you have to do that, do that. If not, hold on. I mean, nobody knows what the future says, but if you got to get it done, you're not in a bad place. I mean, as long as you didn't buy like last year. And in that case, I think even we have a conversation like, oh yeah, well, listen, you're buying this for how long? Yeah,
well, I mean, if you bought last year, the second half of last year.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. but why would you be selling so quickly? Right. So I have that conversation with people. It's like, okay, well, how long you planning to stay in the house? 3 to 5 years? You're cool. All right. So As long as your plans didn't suddenly change, you bought in early 2022 and now you got to sell in 2023 early,
Well, plus, you got to think of capital gains. So if you bought your house in 2022, you need to live in it for at least 2 years so you don't have capital gains.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you can get away with that a little bit on a residential.
No, I had a client that
you
that
could
I'm
be
listing in
considered
February.
dealing. I think there is a time frame where you can avoid it, and it's just if it's really short time frame, then you will get what's called considered being a dealer,
right?
And you will get hit with taxes.
Yeah, I know my client had asked his lender or whatever, and they said he had to live in it for
CPA?
2 years. Yeah.
Oh, the lender.
Yeah. In order for him to sell it, so that's why we're selling it now in February, because he had to wait 2 years. Otherwise, he would have had.
Which was this? Did they do a workout with the lender by chance?
I don't know if it was a lender or a CPA. I think it was a CPA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, folks, you know what you need to do? Do agents do that? Do what?
Do agents do what? Is this a joke? Are you pulling us in to
do what?
Suck the D?
Were we saying something? And then anyway, folks.
All right.
Most importantly, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Rob's information is listed in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching.
Rock on.
And do it peacefully.
And I'm hungry as hell, so let's get out of here.
See you on the next one, folks. Bye. I want an expensive lunch.
All right. Where are we going?
End.